Good morning, today 146. It's a beautiful day as always. Sorry to start off by rubbing that into everybody. It's always gorgeous here. Nice breeze today, very little cloud. Give a little shout out to Dwayne Whitehouse. Good to see you yesterday on the camera yesterday, mate. Hopefully you're going to have a good day today when some of this stuff's going to come off. Next year should be good, buddy. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Today, what are we doing today? Groundhog Day, as always. However, there is light at the end of the tunnel. So pipe work's got to be finished off. We've got to ideally finish that base and get that pipe concreted today. We've got to do the front drainage. The guys are still taking out the formwork from downstairs. We are, as I said last night, we're pretty much completely done on the house apart from the first quarter. So that first quarter's being done. The guys are sweeping up all the nails. There's bloody hundreds of them. So we're getting the nails taken up. Today we're going to waterproof the column here and the tree at the front as well. I'm pointing at the column here, but on the camera it looks like I'm not. So there we go. I've got to move the camera to suit. The columns over here, 1, 2 and 3 over the back. This big one, we need those painted in waterproof. One of the masons down here in the corner is actually now waterproof in the pool area because that's going to be plastered tomorrow. We had the first stage of the front beam formwork going in, which is good. And tonight, when things start ramping down, we'll get the steels at the top. So this one here, and the one over the back, this one here, and also that one there. We're going to get those sprayed with anti-corrosion stuff because at the moment they're rusting and that isn't a good thing. But also the salt rusts and runs down onto the concrete and as a result it penetrates the concrete. So we need to get that sorted out sooner rather than later. But obviously it's quite potent stuff, so you can't do it whilst people are working around, otherwise you poison them. Yeah, general tidy up. We need to have a general tidy up. We've got stuff absolutely everywhere. So before we start, we need to try and get things a little bit more organised. So what we've got going on, we've got the stairs being sorted out behind. There's someone down there doing some digging out. We've got some of the guys taking some of the formwork and everything downstairs. We've got the jacks being taken downstairs as well. We've got sweeping up going on at the moment from yesterday's workload. We've got piles of shit everywhere we've got to try and get sorted out. We've got the guys working in here as well at the moment. I'm not really sure what they're doing. They might be just taking that apart to get it out. We've got preparation going on in the pool area with a view to getting that sealed. What else? We've got the drainage outside being done. Yeah, lots on today. We're looking for another 2 carpenters as well, so we want to try and muller that. And today, we're hoping to try and get as much formwork coming through here as possible. But in order to do that, we need the extended jacks, which we still don't have delivered as yet. So we need the jacks here. We need the place to be a bit more empty so we can actually operate. We need anything that we don't need taken out to get a clear space. So yeah, that's what today's looking like at the moment. So fingers crossed. We'll also pour that front beam as well. The beams around the garage. It's the ones that were boxed up yesterday. I think the aim is to try and get these poured today as well. So this one here and this one here. And I also need to talk to the labourers about getting that top piece taken out because that's obviously still there. So yeah, that's where we are so far. So fingers crossed. We'll keep on top of shit and another productive day because yesterday was probably one of the best days we've had. Okay, so we're at 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. Okay, staircase was out. Good that we spotted it. So that's being adjusted as we speak. So that's all good. I'll show you that in a second. Carpenters are here finishing off the boxing for the front beam. That means the steel boys can actually get in and start building the beam. Another set of carpenters are building door frames and window frames for out in the hallway, etc., so that we can actually get the beams in and boxed. And we've also removed said column from bathroom. So it was rebarred in there, so it was a chase out, it was a cut, and it's taken a good sort of 3 hours to do it, but it's out, it's gone, so we're now back to 8 foot again. Also, one thing I'm looking to do as well, so advice from the audience, this is the foyer, this is the entrance to the main house. As you can see, it's a nice wide entrance, over 6 feet, and it's 12 foot tall. So, I'm going to build a wooden cedar front door. It's going to be 6 foot wide, was going to be 8 foot, but I'm thinking about going 12 feet. So that there is 8 feet. So do we go 12 feet or do we stick at 8 feet? What do we do? The steel can be made into the roof rather than coming out 8 feet there, which means also it means the ceiling will be flush all the way through as well. So we'll have at the other end an 8 foot window with a 12 foot ceiling, and here would be a 12 foot front pivot door. I've already got the pivots here. I'm not too sure weight wise I think they take up to 200 kilos, so I'm not too sure what the door would be. I've sort of earmarked it being about 150, but if we're going to go 12 foot now, we may have to upgrade the actual pivots. So yeah, I know we've talked about the front door before, about, you know, does it go left or right open? Does it open outwards or inwards? What's the thought on the height? 8 foot or 12 foot? And if we're going to go 8 foot or 12 foot, what's the thickness of the wood we should be considering? Because we want to try and make a door. Again, Barbados, different than England, as in wood. They do cedar, but they do things like purple heart rather than oaks that we have. So what wood should I consider as well? What's going to be the nicest smell and finish, and also going to give me the hardness that it needs for the duration we're going to require it for? So give me some thoughts on that. Side of the building, we're pretty much ready to pour now, so the guys are starting to mix concrete. I'm not too sure if they're mixing for here or they're actually mixing for the pool. I think they're doing the plaster for the pool at the moment. That's another thing we've actually started. So we need to work out what we're going to do there as well. Let's have a quick look through here. So I'll show you the pool itself. We've put the first coat of waterproof onto the concrete. I'm not too sure if I have to do the blocks. From what I can see, they're not doing the blocks, so it's just literally the concrete itself that came over the sides on top of the block work. So that's now been painted with this stuff, which is Weldcrete. That's obviously got to go off, and then they put a scratch coat, but they don't scratch it. So, well, they do scratch it, but obviously it's not rough, because obviously they've only got about a quarter of an inch to play with. So they put this battening around, so they actually get the edge of what they're looking for, and then they'll skim all around here, all this side as well. As you can see, it's all blue here as well. I would have thought they should be painting the back side as well. I'm not too sure who hasn't done that. Maybe he's forgotten. So we need to do that piece as well. So I need to have a word about doing the side and the back. This is going to be steps here, so that will be boxed in and built separately, but that back piece is definitely going to have to be painted, because that's going to have to be scratch coated. So he's stopped there as well, so we need to run that all the way around. So other than that, that's pretty much done for there. As I say, the guys at the front are building the L-shaped box beam. They're nearly finished with the actual boxing that goes in there. The rebar guys are then going to get out there and start lifting the steel in and start manufacturing once they're there. It's a monstrous beam. They're still finishing off bringing down last bits from downstairs. They're also over in the underground pieces over there as well, taking the formwork over there as well. So we've got stacks of lumber, we've got stacks of plywood. Plywood is obviously this site, so hopefully it will stay here, not disappearing somewhere else. Jacks are now going in to hold up obviously what's going to happen above. They're 98 inches plus the beams themselves. Still a bit of formwork needs to come down there. That beam will obviously in the corner will be connected up to that beam, and then eventually we'll start boxing 12 foot up in the air across, well actually 12.4 1/4. And I think we're also going to start looking to plaster the outside of the building in the next day as well. So as I always say, there's plenty going on. It's never a day where we don't need to do something, that's for sure. And we need to decide whether we're going to bring in a concrete lorry to do the steps and the walls, because there's a lot to be done, that's for sure. So this is where we are at the moment. We're putting the actual rebar. The actual parts of the step. And the rebar is obviously going in for the steps themselves. And that will be the exit from the patio area down. So yeah, just a quick 11 o'clock update. I'm sure there'll be plenty more coming, so as and when there is, I will get on the record. Thank you. Okay, we're at 2:15. 2:15. Okay, where are we now? Manhole. Demolished. Manhole's now gone. Got to redo the base, get rid of the rest of the blocks, get that reset back on the floor again, about 6 inches lower, and then pour the concrete. These boys are now actually pulling out the formwork and the jacks from downstairs. These guys are putting in the window frames and door frames. That door frame has now been taken out behind him. Goodbye, Mr. 6x8. Foyer is ready to pour. What else? Obviously the block height is over where it needs to be now. The staircase is nearly ready for pour as far as I'm aware. So there's been more rebar that's been put in. So as you can see, it's been dug out at the very, very bottom to ensure that we can get a bit of conduit in there, and also the concrete beds into the existing concrete. And the rebar has been done. It's not finished off yet, but the rebar is now being laid in, ready for a lay. What else? We're taking some of these off. We're going to try and get these out in a minute so they can actually start breathing. Those balls over there have been poured with concrete, but we've got one on the outside that has still got conduit that needs to be adjusted. Once that's been adjusted, we can box it up and pour that as well. And then there'll be an electrical box going into the little square there. The square you can see is actually the connections for the pool lights. That's the actual connections. They have them up and out the way. Sometimes they have them in the actual patio, but we've decided to put them in the wall there. So that will be an electrical box. Gangster music from the carpenters. Formwork on the jacks also in place for up there. So the guys are now pretty much get on with doing the steel up there. So they need to bring the steel up and start connecting everything up in place. Jacks are a little bit pissed, but that's because they're trying to set them back from the patio edge. So they are at an angle, some of them, that's fine. More formwork. We're trying to put the formwork in piles in each part of the house, so that when we do land up going up, rather than going to each part of the house to get formwork, they can do it where they are. Example A. Did cause a big ruck between the carpenters, but I think people here just love arguing for the sake of arguing. In their defence, it was put there, and they need to get scaffold and then wheel it all the way along to do the formwork across the very top. So it needs to be kept clear all the way along so they can actually get the scaffolding through. I'm not too sure how wide the scaffolding is, but hopefully it's going to get through that gap. Jacks have still got to go. Yeah, video. We've got a little bit left downstairs to take out. I think they've actually finished this end now. So it was about a quarter of this side was left, and the other far end as well. So they've done this side. They're just now finishing off this end. So obviously the boarding and chocks and everything will all come up. And they're also going to take this formwork and get that put over there as well. What else? This beam has been treated at the top, as you can see the drip on the front. That needs to be rolled with, they actually call it weldcrete. This blue stuff is called weldcrete. They roll it on and it's got to go off, and then they put another coat on, it's got to go off, and then 24 hours minimum after that they can plaster. So it seals it for 10 days, so we need to get that rolled. And we also need to get those 3 rolled as well. And then after the back of those have been rolled, then we can also start looking to plaster them at some stage. And we are going to start to look at plastering the front of the house, apparently. And that is, I'm not too sure, but they will certainly start looking at getting that done. We're waiting for the plumber, as always. He's got to come and extend some pipe work. What else? I think that's where we are so far. There's some concrete here, I'm not too sure why. Okay, so we're actually doing the grease trap to the side of the flat as well. So as you can see, we've got to take out 2 or 3 blocks out the top so the guys can actually do their benching. Benching meaning the runs. This is obviously the blocks they put in. They're pouring concrete in each one of them. So they've done. That one looks a bit pissed, but we need to get them in stable, and they pour them with concrete, and that's what keeps the pipe up when the backfill takes place. So I want to get down and make sure that's absolutely plumb. I'm not going through that hell again, that's for sure. And I would say we need to try and remove some of these jacks, because the weight on that wall is not going to be pretty. So we are going to need to get that moved sooner rather than later. I'll speak to them about that in a second. Other than that, I think that's pretty much where we are so far. Bear in mind it's 2:20. So as and when more happens or more change happens, I'll get back on. 4:50. Day is finished. Everyone's gone. Maybe the best time to have a bit of reality check. Just got up on top of the beams and sprayed. Rush treated all the actual beams at the top now. Everyone's gone. Formwork is nearly complete for the beam to be done, so tomorrow they can get out there and start manufacturing that beam. They can also come across here and join this one. so the guys can actually box that and pull that, as well as the front one as well. This has all been poured today. The outside has actually been boxed as far as I'm aware. Rick was gonna come up with a solution of somehow getting the conduit out, which he has. So it was just conduit he was waiting on. Where am I? There it is. So he's now boxed that up, and that is now been poured. It looks like it's not attached very well to the wall. The poured has had a second coat of concrete proofing. The stairs are finished off and have been adjusted and now ready for pour. Beautiful. The manholes into the water irrigation tanks, etc., have been unearthed. We just need to get them up tomorrow, because downstairs there's still loads of jacks and formwork. We need to give them an airing, get them sucked out, get them stripped out. The jacks are now up here from downstairs, along with the actual woodwork as well. That's all coming up as well. The boss is here. This is now ready for plaster tomorrow, which is good news. And majority of downstairs is now stripped and up here. So tomorrow it's all about trying to get the formwork finished off, getting the beam started, trying to get the formwork higher all the way across, because once this beam has been done, we can actually go up the extra, whatever it is, 4 feet, and start coming across the ceiling, which is obviously quite a big distance. The guys can actually put the columns all the way along here. Sorry, columns. The beams, the steel beams all the way along here. We can box them up and we can start boxing across. So lots to do. And the excavator has turned up again, which means he can rip out what he needs to remove, and we can try and get that done tomorrow. The run on this one and this one's now perfect. We just need to redo that manhole and then reset the pipework down here and pull the septic out, so he can get in here, lever this off, get down there, pull it up, dig it out, and let's get this bloody thing done. And also today we managed to get this one, the grease trap, to the flat. That one was actually concreted in as well, so that's now ready to a certain extent to have a backfill as well. So yeah, other than that, we're pretty much where we need to be. Again, still loads to do, but light at the end of the tunnel, as they say. That's it for another day, so fingers crossed tomorrow will be great.